Gone are the days when it was necessary to physically go to a library in order to do some research. Encyclopedias, novels, academic journals, biographies, plays, and more are all available via online databases. And you don't need a library card to access them. Digital libraries do make finding resources more physically accessible, but only if you know how to use them. This video is here to give you a quick tutorial and some tips and tricks to make using a library database easy and teaching with a library database accessible to all students. Once you have logged into your university account and selected a search option, you will end up on a page like this, with many different database options. This page can be quite overwhelming, and without distinct instructions, students may get overwhelmed. A better place to start your research would be at the subject guide. When considering accessibility, we must consider the complexity of web content. The search feature in this database has popular search tools, but they may be unknown to new students, or they may be too complex to use for students with intellectual disabilities. Instead, let us begin by providing students with choices that they are familiar with. Let's use English as our subject. Right away, you see a menu with 5 options: books, journal articles, reference sources, web resources, and citing sources. We're going to search for a book. On this screen, the first sentence guides you to a hyperlink that will take you to the library catalog where you can search for both print and electronic books. Next, you'll see a paragraph explaining how to find books in person at the University of Prince Edward Island's Robertson Library. Past that, there are links to free ebook collections, which are great to check out when you're browsing or aren't looking for anything specific. Then comes the example searches. These are some examples of keywords and subjects that can be useful in your search. Let's check out the library catalog. This page is very accessible. I immediately notice the search bar and the elements with clear titles. There aren't any excessive images or phrases, and the inputs have autocomplete options. So let's say I'm looking for some Shakespeare. The first thing I naturally do is type in Shakespeare in the search bar. With this search comes a series of books about Shakespeare or titled Shakespeare, but nothing by the actual author. So where it says type, I will use the drop-down menu to choose author. These drop-down menus make pages more accessible by giving options instead of requiring the user to input their own information. Once author is selected, works will appear that were written by William Shakespeare and any other authors who share his last name. Now let's look for a specific title. Once we change the type to title, we can enter Romeo and Juliet. And sure enough, the web page gives us options and then autofills it for us. Here, we see many different versions of Romeo and Juliet. If we click on the first one, we see that this book is available at the physical Robertson Library, and we have the information to find it there, but it is not available online. Back to the search page, we can see that it shows us whether or not the result is a physical book, an e-video, a physical CD, or an ebook. Let's select this ebook from this nice large button of a contrasting color. It brings us to a login page because we are changing databases. Once you log in, we can select full text PDF, and now we have access to a copy of Romeo and Juliet, and an accessible one at that, with translations of the Old English on the side. When dealing with complex digital systems, it is important to approach the system in small, manageable steps. If you start from your broad knowledge, it will be easier to narrow your search and make connections to the information you are absorbing. When in doubt, return to the search bar, and if you are stuck, ask for help. Happy researching!